The habit we're talking about is riding your brakes. This might sound unfamiliar at first, but it's more common than people realize. Riding the brakes means keeping your foot on the brake pedal with light pressure, even when you're not actively trying to stop the car. Many drivers do this without even thinking, especially when going downhill, navigating slow traffic, or approaching traffic lights. It might feel like you're staying in control, but what's actually happening is constant contact between your brake pads and the rotors. This creates unnecessary friction. Over time, that friction wears down your brake pads faster than usual. It also heats up the rotors, which can lead to warping and reduce their effectiveness. Worse, the constant pressure raises the temperature of your brake fluid. When brake fluid overheats, it can start to break down and even boil in extreme cases. That leads to brake fade, a dangerous situation where your brakes lose effectiveness or stop working entirely during an emergency. It's a silent and costly issue that develops over time without warning. Why this is a big deal? Most people underestimate the damage that riding the brakes can cause, but it has serious consequences. First, it leads to rapid brake pad wear. Brake pads are designed to handle high temperatures and friction, but they're not meant to be in constant contact with the rotors. That contact, even if it's light, adds up over thousands of miles. Worn-out pads not only need to be replaced more often, but can also cause damage to the rotors if ignored. The rotors themselves suffer from constant heat and friction. As they get hotter, they can warp, which leads to vibrations when braking and uneven wear on new pads. If the heat builds up too much, it affects the brake fluid, causing it to lose its hydraulic properties. That means your braking power is reduced when you need it most. In emergency situations, this can become extremely dangerous. Repairing this damage is not cheap. Replacing pads and rotors prematurely, flushing brake fluid, and fixing heat damage can run into hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And the frustrating part is that all of this is easily preventable with a few simple adjustments to driving habits. One of the most common situations where brake riding occurs is during downhill driving. When a driver goes downhill, it's natural to want to slow down or control the speed of the car. The most instinctive reaction is to keep a foot lightly on the brake pedal. It feels safe, like a way to prevent the car from gaining too much speed. However, that constant pressure means the brakes are being used non-stop as the vehicle descends. This causes the components to heat up quickly, brakes generate heat through friction, and when they don't get a chance to cool down, the temperatures rise dangerously high. The pads start to glaze over, rotors can warp, and the brake fluid may begin to boil. When that happens, your braking system becomes unreliable and can even fail. Professional drivers, like truck drivers, avoid this by using engine braking. That means letting the engine slow the car down instead of using the brakes. Downshifting to a lower gear allows the engine to control speed without generating heat in the brake system. Even in automatic cars, simply taking your foot off the accelerator and allowing the car to coast can reduce the need for braking and keep components cooler. How to know if you're doing this? A lot of drivers don't realize they're riding their brakes. It's a subconscious action that often stems from a desire to feel more in control, but there are signs that can reveal whether you have this habit. One of the most common indicators is that your brake pads seem to wear out faster than expected. If you find yourself replacing them more often than other drivers with similar mileage, it's worth considering how you use your brakes. Another sign is the smell of something burning after a drive, especially after navigating downhill roads or heavy traffic. That burnt odor often comes from overheated brake components. It's a warning sign that the brakes are being used excessively. Vibrations or pulsations when applying the brake pedal can also point to warped rotors, which are frequently caused by prolonged heat exposure due to brake riding. Even resting your foot lightly on the pedal without full pressure can lead to these issues. If you've developed a habit of keeping your foot near or slightly touching the brake pedal just in case, you may be unknowingly causing unnecessary wear. It's not about pressing hard, it's about frequency and duration of contact. The more often and longer the brakes are engaged, the faster they wear down. Why mechanics don't tell you this? Mechanics often don't mention brake riding habits, not because they're hiding anything, but because they simply can't observe how you drive. When a vehicle comes in for brake repairs, they see the result. Worn pads, scorched rotors, or old fluid, but not the cause. Unless you tell them exactly how you drive, they may not realize that brake riding is the reason behind the wear. There's also a financial aspect. Some repair shops profit from more frequent brake replacements. While most honest mechanics prioritize safety and education, the fact remains that repeated brake jobs bring in consistent revenue. Teaching drivers how to extend the life of their brakes doesn't always align with the business model of repeat service. This is why it's important for drivers to educate themselves. Knowing the cause of brake damage allows you to take control of your car's health and avoid unnecessary repair costs. Preventing the damage in the first place is far easier and cheaper than fixing it later. Understanding the basic mechanics of braking helps make sense of why riding the brakes is so harmful. A vehicle's braking system includes the brake pedal, master cylinder, brake lines filled with hydraulic fluid, calipers, brake pads, and rotors. When you press the pedal, fluid pressure forces the calipers to squeeze the pads against the rotors, slowing the vehicle down through friction. Friction creates heat, and brakes are designed to handle short bursts of it. But when friction is applied continuously, like when riding the brakes, heat builds up faster than it can dissipate. Over time, that constant heat damages all parts of the braking system. Pads wear unevenly, rotors warp, and brake fluid loses its ability to transfer pressure efficiently. The damage is cumulative. Even if you don't notice it immediately, the system is being weakened every time it's used excessively. The more often you ride your brakes, the faster these problems develop, and the shorter your brake system's lifespan becomes. Brake repairs are expensive. Even under normal driving conditions, brake maintenance is one of the more regular costs car owners face. When you factor in the extra damage caused by riding the brakes, those costs rise significantly. Replacing brake pads alone can cost a few $100s per axle. But if the rotors are damaged too, which is common when the pads wear unevenly or overheat, the bill increases fast. If the damage goes deeper and affects calipers or requires a full brake fluid flush, the costs multiply. Repairs involving multiple components can easily exceed $1,000, especially at dealership service centers. These are costs that could have been delayed or avoided completely with better driving habits. Beyond money, there's the safety risk. A worn-out braking system compromises your ability to stop quickly, especially in emergency situations. In a real-world scenario, that delay in stopping could mean the difference between a close call and a collision. It's not just a matter of maintenance, it's a matter of keeping yourself and others safe on the road. Breaking the habit of riding the brakes isn't difficult, but it does take a bit of conscious effort and awareness. The first thing to work on is your foot placement. Many drivers develop the habit of keeping their foot resting lightly on the brake pedal, especially in stop-and-go traffic or when going downhill. The fix is simple. If you're not actively stopping or slowing down, keep your foot fully off the brake pedal. Rest it on the floor or keep it close to the accelerator. This single adjustment eliminates unnecessary contact between the brake pads and rotors, reducing wear and heat buildup. When driving downhill, resist the urge to maintain your speed using the brakes alone. Instead, take advantage of engine braking. This means shifting into a lower gear, whether you're in a manual or automatic car. Most modern automatic cars have a L or S gear for low or sport, or numbered gears like 2 or 1 that allow you to manually control how the transmission behaves. Switching to a lower gear forces the engine to take on some of the braking responsibility, slowing the car without touching the brakes. This not only gives you better control, but also keeps your brakes cooler and extends their life. In everyday city driving, spacing is key. Most people follow the car in front of them too closely, which leads to frequent light braking to maintain distance. Instead, leave more room between your car and the vehicle ahead. This way, when traffic slows down, you can ease off the gas and let the car slow naturally rather than tapping the brakes. It's smoother, safer, and saves your brakes from constant engagement. This technique, often referred to as coasting, is one of the easiest ways to improve both your braking system's lifespan and your fuel efficiency. Another important step is to change the way you think about braking. Instead of using your brakes to maintain a certain speed or as a substitute for planning ahead, try to be more proactive. Anticipate red lights, stop signs, turns, and traffic slowdowns ahead of time. By lifting your foot off the gas earlier, you reduce the need to brake abruptly. Smooth, deliberate braking is far better for your system than constant tapping or dragging. It not only protects your brake components, but also leads to a much more comfortable ride for passengers. Consider using cruise control on the highway whenever appropriate. This helps you maintain a steady speed without the temptation to hover over the brake pedal. Just make sure to deactivate it in heavy traffic, on steep grades, or in wet or icy conditions. When you are off cruise control, check yourself regularly. Are you touching the brake more than necessary? That little bit of self-awareness goes a long way. Finally, make checking your brake habits part of your regular driving mindset. Every time you get behind the wheel, remind yourself, brake only when needed. This mental reset helps reinforce the new habit until it becomes second nature. With just a bit of discipline and intention, you can protect one of your car's most critical systems and save yourself hundreds, if not thousands, on unnecessary repairs. Your car's life literally depends on this. Brakes are one of the most essential safety features in any vehicle. While most drivers focus on the engine or tires, the braking system is just as critical. A habit as small as resting your foot on the pedal when you don't need to can cause serious damage over time. But the good news is, changing this habit is simple, free, and highly effective. Adjusting the way you use your brakes can extend the life of your pads, rotors, and fluid. It can save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars in maintenance. More importantly, it makes your car safer and more reliable. Paying attention to how you brake isn't just good for your vehicle, it's good for everyone on the road. So the next time you're out driving, take a second to check your foot. Are you really braking, or are you just riding the pedal without thinking? That small habit could be silently draining your wallet and putting your safety at risk. If this video helped you spot a habit you didn't even realize you had, hit that like button so more drivers can find it too. And if you care about keeping your car running smooth and avoiding costly repairs, make sure to subscribe. We've got more simple, eye-opening videos coming your way every week. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.